Hey everybody, Rodham here. Thanks for tuning in to Kerbal Space Program. So this episode I will be doing asteroid capture. So before I get going, let's find an asteroid that we can capture. I was taking a look at the tracking station and there is one that is particularly easy, although a little bit more massive than a starter asteroid, but I don't really mind. So what you need to do to be able to dock with an asteroid is go into your tracking station. I'm turning everything off but the unknown objects. The unknown objects are asteroids. There's 5 different classes. It goes from teeny to huge. So right now, the 8 that I have here is huge, large, large, huge, huge, medium, and medium. And this one seems to be the closest. So what I'm going to do is click on it and track it. And then once you track it, you can see when and how it encounters Kerbal. So if I hit tab and go over to Kerbal here, it is on a polar, more or less polar orbit, where it enters through the south and exits through the north. So now I know kind of what sort of orbit I need to achieve to be able to grab it. Alright, good. So our asteroid grabber is going to need a moderate amount of complexity. Now, we're not leaving Kerbal or anything, so that part is good, but it doesn't necessarily make this mission easy. So what I'm going to do is first throw in a service bay, open up them doors, and put in a little probe core. And then I am going to stuff the rest with batteries. We're going to need a lot of power storage and capacity. Like, more than you think you'd need. Batman. I like how it's Batman batteries. Great. Alright, so that's quite the battery there. At the top of this, I'm just going to put one of these protective nose cones. And then underneath this, I am going to put a convertitron. The convertitron converts ore that you mine to oxidizer or liquid fuel, or both, or monoprop. Then additionally, I'm going to put a monoprop tank, and then I'm going to have some advanced. I'm going to put advanced reaction wheel at the top. And another advanced reaction wheel down below. Now, I haven't unlocked the large ore storage yet, which is too bad, because it would really, really help. But we have a mining drill, and because of symmetry and weight allowances, I'm going to have 3 mining drills. Why use 1 when you can use 3? Then to accompany these mining drills, I'm going to put in some lights so I can see what I'm doing. Cool. Now, I need a place to store the ore, and unfortunately I don't have the large ore storage. Let me just call this RHD asteroid. I'm sort of curious. I almost certainly do not have the research to get large ore storage, but I'm going to take a look anyway. So that would be here, large holding tank, for 1,000. Yeah, I'm not there yet. I don't even have enough to get like the high altitude flight at 300. Okay, we would have enough if we got back from Duna, but I'm not going to wait until I get back from Duna because that is hundreds of days from now, and I might as well run this mission, which means we are stuck with small tanks. That's fine. So that would be in fuel tanks. You can see this small holding tank. These small holding tanks, actually I'm just going to put them radially here. These small holding tanks are hold ore. There's also the radial holding tanks. Actually, you know what I could do? I don't need a whole lot of ore storage because we'll be converting it. So I could just hook up a bunch of radial tanks and it might actually look cooler. I don't know. Maybe maybe I don't know what cool looks like. Yeah, that will block the light. Okay, well that is a very busy little object here with plenty of ore storage now. My other worry is battery storage. We're gonna need a whole lot of batteries. So the reason why is converting ore into fuel requires a whole lot of power. And I can add a lot of power generation, but when we are in the shadow of Kerbal in nighttime, so to speak, we are not going to have the ability to yeah, we're not going to have the ability to generate power because I don't yet have the sort of nuclear power that you could have. Additionally, just to make it a little bit easier to dock, I'm going to add RCS, and I'll do 4-timed symmetry, and I have to figure out where the front of this craft is. I think it's here. So actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do change the way this is symmetrical just a little bit. So bear with me. No, stop. I don't want 6. So I believe this is the front. Alright, and then the lights, and then all these. You know, the ore tanks, I think what I'll do is, I'll put them down here. Like I said, we don't need an insane amount of ore storage. We just need enough that if our Convertitron can't keep up, I can always turn off the mining arms too. Alright, that actually looks kind of cool. There we go. That is a very full of random stuff kind of thing there. At the bottom here, I don't need anything else. Okay, so next up, the drills and everything that goes with the drills. So what I'm going to do is go to coupling, or actually, let's see, structural maybe? And put out some structural girders like this, and then go to my, let's sort by size, inversely, get my giant fuel tanks. Now these are too big. What I'll do is get, are those fuel tanks gonna work? Let's see, I will go back to, I want a rail attachment point. Is that in structural? Oh, you know what? I could just do the little girder thing. So I kind of want to add the fuel tanks down like that. Yep. Perfect. Look at that fit. Look at that fit right there. That looks great. Okay, so what I'm going to do here at the top of this is use some robotics, because I've never had to use robotics before. So let's get the large hinge girder, and I'm not going to have these to be symmetrical, so I can control them individually, because asteroids aren't perfect circles. They are what are we centered on? They are obviously rough shaped. And what I'll do is put the heaviest telescoping girder atop these giant alligator clips, and then at the top of that a grabber arm, which is in coupling. What this will allow us to do is to change the angle of our grabber unit and telescope it out to grab. The mining drills, if you're curious, go about this high, so I have to obviously grab, and then I could actually retract once I'm ready. And what I'm doing here is setting up 3 of them. Traditionally, with small asteroids and the like, you could grab with just 1. My worry is 1 point of contact's not going to be enough. So now I have 3 independently assigned grabber units. So the maximum angle here, I'm going to set to 50. So it can go between 0 and 50, and I'll do that for all of them. Okay. So now, as you can see, we can tilt it. And that will, what it will allow us to do, here's what a grabber arm looks like when it's armed. If we have a nice flat surface, we can just arm it like this, right? But if it's if one side needs a little extra attachment, we can change the telescope or we can change the angle, and this should allow us to more easily grab our target. So what I'm going to do here in action groups is action group 1, I'm going to toggle the arming here. Action group 2, toggle. Action group 3, toggle. Action group 4 is going to be for the lights. And that's all the action groups I have so far. And that way, when I toggle them, I can grab and release. The only other worry I have is maybe they're too centered, so I'm going to pull these hinges basically as far back as they can go, while remaining symmetrical as best as I can. Okay, that looks good. Save. Now, I'm also going to want a lot of RCS fuel. So I'm going to add RCS fuel. That's 1,500. Okay, that's a lot of RCS fuel. And the reason why, I need to be able to stop this craft, right? Oh, that sucked. I placed it and it kind of didn't go where I put it. So if I want to stop this craft, I need to load it full of RCS forward-facing thrusters and then all the other things on RCS. The trouble here is... Oh, man. Okay. Changing once again. I'm sorry. So, 4 points of contact... I'd rather have 3 points of contact, to be brutally honest, but 4 points of contact allows me to RCS a little easier, so I'm going to do it that way. And that way, I have... something will be pointed upwards. No, not 6. That's ridiculous. Alright. And then I will just have 2 drills instead of the 4. Alright, cool. Then over here, what I could do instead of drills on the other side is have 2 antennae. Little symmetrical, right? I don't know. Not obviously not really. These antennae are teeny, but that allows this probe-driven craft to connect with Kerbal. Alright, so if you have trypophobia, I'm sorry about the ship design. RCS thruster blocks now are going to... Come on, man. I didn't want to put it inside of nowhere. Get real. Okay. So, RCS blocks. You know, actually, we could rotate these so now they're more easy to find where the edge is. Oh, but that's horrible, because then I can't even see my RCS block. Let's put it like that. So these are for the lefts and rights, if I need it. And then the fronts and backs I can do on engines. Alright, next step is to strut things together so they don't fall apart so easy. I don't even know if I need struts to the hinges. The trouble is I'm not sure how tough robotics are. So I don't know if it's delicate or not. Sometimes robotics can be delicate, but we'll see. Then struts here to one another. At the bottom here is going to be mammoth engines. So let's put those in. We need, well, actually, let's do sort by mass. Yeah, the mammoths are the most thrust I can get. And the reason I'm going for high thrust is moving an asteroid. Asteroids are quite heavy, so you need a high thrust engine. A lot of kick to move these things, right? Okay. My thrust to weight ratio is perfectly 1.0 here. So I could technically launch this thing as is. Just trying to think. I also need to add some stuff. So I need to add solar arrays. Really? Again? Driving me mad. Keeps letting me, like, put the item nowhere in the middle of the craft. So we need a whole lot of power to power the fuel operation here. So I'm going to add a whole bunch of solar arrays to accompany our power packs. And then these power packs, mostly for design, I'll just put some additional power packs. Yes, that's what I wanted to do. I'm kidding. I'm being sassy. Sorry. Alright. I don't know. Maybe that just makes it uglier. It's up to you to decide. I just care about functionality. Okay, so RHD Asteroid now has RCS, more reaction wheels. Yes, I would like more reaction wheels. So let me actually purposely detach that for a second and grab some large inline reaction wheels. And then slap this back on correctly. Alright. The symmetrical inline reaction wheels should work. Next up, we need to strut the inside to the outside to avoid the wobbles. What am I doing? Structural. I'm so used to having it sorted by name that when it's not sorted by name, I kind of get lost. And then maybe strut these guys to one another to reduce wobbling as well. Alright, looking good, looking good. So I do, once I'm attached, have the ability to generate my own fuel from mining, which is cool. Is this... Okay, the bottom here is centered, but this isn't centered. I don't know, it doesn't bother me. I'm sure it's bothering you, but I'm not gonna fix it. Sorry. So let's then try to get this behemoth into space, right? So my worry is... Yeah, these grabber arms are now not set up correctly. They're all bound to one another, and I don't want them all doing the same thing. I need them independent. So I gotta set these back up. And then redo my action groups, so save that. Actions. Action group 1 is... that looks tilted. Let me fix that. Save again. Action groups. Custom 1. 2, 3. No. Toggle arming. 4. Toggle arming. 5. Release grapple. 6. I'm probably not going to be able to control this as I am setting it up, but we'll see. 9 is going to be lights, and 10 will be solar power panels. All right, let's do a action group test, and then I will add some more boosters to get this thing into polar orbit to intercept our asteroid. Once it loads. Please load. Okay, there we go. 10 first. Yep, those work. 9 for the lights. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 doesn't work. Yep, this one's bound twice. 5, 6, 7, 8. I can't really test right now because I'm not grappled to anything. All right, and then 0 should bring the power back. Okay, so not all the action groups worked out. I'm gonna have to fix that. 3 and 4 are bound to the same arm. Okay, actions. Action group 3 is this one. Toggle arming. Save. The release grapple I can always manually do. So, next up, we got to get this bad boy into la space, right? So, let's go and add a whole lot more fuel, because we can. Alright, let's sort by size. Grab the big old tank. And make sure we attach it straight on. That looks pretty good. We'll build this one out. Okay, we don't have any symmetry going. We'll build this one out and then we'll copy it over to the others. I'm gonna make it look weird, because I can. Where's that crazy... oh, here it is. Oops. Oh, no, you're fine. Let's see. Maybe I won't make it look too weird. And a beautiful little nose cone. Okay. Then at the bottom, it's going to be very much the same. And let's go copy this 4 times like that. And then 4 times like this. And we won't asparagus stage, we'll just have the outsides feed the inside. So this is a thrust of almost 1. So let's strut this up and then add some SRBs. And we'll call it good. Strut them to one another. And then strut to the inside. Strut to one another up top too, probably. Didn't mean to click that. Oh, struts, what would I do without you? Alright. That looks about good. All these engines are facing weird ways, but it doesn't really matter. Okay, then the fuel lines that I was talking about. So let's go get fuel line. And the outside tank should feed the inside tank. Okay, that works. Good. Save again. And then the last is to add some SRBs, and then when we launch this thing, it will be deafening. Maybe by design. So this is not... Yeah, this is... whatever. I'm just going to slap the SRBs in. Alright, so the decouplers, so this should look like that, and then... Here's my kickback SRB, and that needs to go there. And then let's see if I can't. Yep, okay, it's all staging correctly now. I'm not even gonna bother trying to make this not ugly. I'm just slapping SRBs on until my thrust to weight is adequately high enough that I feel confident that I'll break escape velocity and get into orbit. Alright, so now thrust to weight of 115, that's fine. Save this bad boy. And let's go and launch it. Warning, deafening noise coming your way. You've been warned. What I'm gonna do is maybe have some launch arms too. So let me raise this up a bit. Just so that we don't get any wibbly wobblies. Alright, and that's being staged correctly, cool. Spare no expense. A $1.5 million craft. Cool, save that. And launch. Again, warning. It's going to be loud. Actually, you know what? Before I launch, I'm going to turn down game volume and then try to remember to turn it back up once I am closing it on orbit. Also a reminder that we're heading into southern polar orbit. So this is not a angle to 90 sort of launch. Just wanted to throw that out there because in case you forgot or whatever. This is a very different sort of launch. Okay. Game volume is lower, and now time for me to go deaf. I actually took off my headset, so I'm not being blasted by the noise here. I'm actually going to revert flight real quick and add some struts to the SRBs. They are, they're flailing outwards, and the flailing of it wastes some of the thrust I would otherwise get. So to do that, I'm just gonna slap some struts up at the top. Could you imagine if struts didn't disconnect during stages? Oh my goodness, it would dramatically change every craft I've pretty much ever made. I would be very, very sad. Alright, so this should prevent that sort of wibble wobble flaring out. Save again and launch again. So what I'm going to do is get this into a polar orbit that closely resembles the trajectory of the asteroid, the C-class asteroid that we're tracking. And then, grab that asteroid. That's easier said than done, of course, but a A-class asteroid would be a really good asteroid to aim for your first asteroid grabbing mission, because A-classes are a lot less massive. E-classes are the most massive. So the amount of fuel that is required to maneuver an E-class asteroid is quite a lot of fuel, as they're really, really, really heavy asteroids. I would say that, in my opinion, a refueling base is better to be designed and attached to Minmus or another low-gravity moon than an asteroid, because asteroids have a finite amount of ore that you can mine from them. At least that's true of the last time I checked, whereas you can't mine Minmus out. Yeah, the advantage of an asteroid, though, is that you don't actually have to land on a planet or have move the fuel from the planet to orbit or whatever. The disadvantage, of course, is, as I said, the limited amount of ore that is available to you. Well, I can't say that this is a pretty rocket, but it's a functional one. So I'm going to angle to south. So here, if you can see the nav ball, the orange line is north. That would put me up into the very opposite orbit that I want. And the going upwards is south. And if you recall, if I go back to this unknown object, where is it? I would have to, yeah, there we go. If I go back to this unknown object and set it as a target, you'll see that that I need to be in a polar orbit to achieve it. But at the moment, I should pay attention to my staging, because I'm about to lose the solar, or the SRBs. And game had a little bit of a heart attack, but we're good. Okay. Now to polar orbit. I'm not going to worry about the perfect tilt just yet. I'm just worrying about the polar orbit. I can adjust the angle of the angle of the orbit later. So the inner fuel tanks are nice and full. The outer fuel tanks are what's draining because of the fuel pump staging. NASA and really any real-life space program does not, however, stage fuel like this, because fuel pumps are likely to fail, and it's a huge risk to move large amounts of liquid in a ship that's blasting off. It's just not even realistic to have asparagus staging in real life. It might be at some point, but with the technology that we have, I don't see it really happening. I could be wrong about asparagus staging, but every major mission that we've ever launched is not asparagus staged like that, that I know of. Just because of the technical difficulties and the dangers involved. Righto, so enough of real-life technoblabble. We have an APO of 33K. Still climbing and climbing. And I have my headset totally off, so that I'm not losing my hearing. If you can believe it, Kerbal Space Program used to even be louder. I know, crazy, but it's true. This is the improved Kerbal Space Program noise. So if you take a look, our entry is the South Pole, exits the North Pole. And that's what I'm trying to mimic here with my orbit so that we can rendezvous. And rendezvousing with an asteroid is very much like rendezvousing with a ship. as strange as it sounds, it's really not that different. And I have an APO of space right now. I have 27,000 electric charge and 2,250 monoprop. I'm gonna cut my engines now, and I tried to angle the for me to create an orbit that somewhat matches the asteroid. It's not perfect, but there we go. That's my next maneuver. Alright, I'm going to point prograde and stage off the sides here, and then really lightly thrust. I don't want any hard collisions. It's like I just ditched giant missiles or something. Kind of looks cool, actually. Eat dust! Wubba lubba dub dub! Alright, there we go. So now my asteroid grabbing craft is off and circularizing. And as you can see, I'm already getting intersect indicators. Little field test, arming the... Ooh, yeah, it works. It's very nice, right? I know you like that. Alright, so we are circularizing now. Sort of. RHD asteroid. Let's see. I'm going to... I'm not going to do anything right now. I was going to rename it and change it so it doesn't look like a little satellite. So that feels insulting. So a reminder, we're heading south. And this is to mimic the asteroid's approach. The asteroid's approach is southern pole to northern pole. So we have to mimic that so that we can dock with it. So I have a polar orbit where I'm heading south. Just wanted to make that explicitly clear. Because if you don't, and you just put this up into equatorial orbit, unless your asteroid is actually entering through an equatorial approach, which is highly unlikely, you're not going to be able to connect with anything without some major delta V corrections. So, yes, don't do that. It would be bad. And then what's also cool is these are all angleable independently as well. And I can get 4 points of contact. The reason why 4 points of contact, to put it very simply, 1 point of contact wobbles a lot. Because it acts like a little hinge or whatever. So you're going to want more than 1 point of contact at the very least. So now I'm in a polar orbit with somewhat resembling the arc, but as you can see, I'm not perfectly lined up. So I'm going to go to this ascending node here and correct my plane to match that of the asteroid more carefully so that I can get it better. Alright, so 0.2, 0.1. Yeah, 0.1's good enough. Alright, there's my next maneuver. Whoa, 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 whoa. I accidentally, because I have my, alright, let me put my headset back on. I couldn't even hear that I was shooting the engines off. Alright, there we go. And let's go ahead warp to next maneuver. And what I'll do is raise the game volume up so that you guys can hear it again. Alright, so I have 0.5. I could do another correction out here, just to get it a little bit closer. It's hard with these big engines, you know? I could probably almost do it with RCS better. Alright, so that's my next maneuver. Let's warp that. And this asteroid's not coming to intercept for like 90 more days, so it's not like urgent that I get this into the right orbit right now. That thing ain't coming for a while. Bruce Willis can take a little vacation. Alright, so this is a 16 Delta V correction here. I should have probably thrust limited my engines, but actually, no. That's not that bad. Alright, that's probably close enough. Yep, oh, yep, that puts me at 0. Okay, so now what I need to do is to, I'm gonna add a prograde burn here. And what I'm doing is trying to slow my ship down so that I can more easily sort of match and intersect the this craft here. This not craft, the asteroid. Come on. Turn, damn it. Alright, I'm going to extend the solar power panels. I have plenty of power, mind you. I don't need to be doing this. It's just good force of habit when you have a satellite craft. And then additionally, a good force of habit would be to, well, first, stop rotating. And B, to extend my high gain antennas. I don't think I'm going to lose contact with anything, but you know, just in case. Thanks, Goo. As you can see, my current intersect is bad. I'm basically not going to get this asteroid. And this is something I can fix as the day approaches. I don't need to have this be super precise because it was never about precision. But if you see here, I can add a maneuver to closer intercept this when the collision is going to happen. But I'm actually out of time, guys, so I'm going to have to pick up this asteroid grabbing mission next time and then fly my Duna missions home. If you have any tips, tricks, feedback for me, drop me a line. If there's things you'd like to see before the Kerbal series ends, you gotta let me know, and don't say, go to every planet, because that's just not realistic. Thank you all for watching, the few of you that still yet remain, but I still like this game, so I'm happy to do it. It's a passion project at this point. I'll catch you all later. Adios, friends.